Hello and welcome to another update video on Bitcoin. I want to start here on the smaller time frame. The smaller time frame movement from yesterday's swing high obviously was quite sharp. In yesterday's, when I made yesterday's videos, it looked a little bit more like a 5-wave move. However, I have to say the proportions of the decline, it could be that it's a 3-wave move. That is not so important for this idea of an ABC structure that I have here, because an A wave can be a 3-wave move or a 5-wave move. However, if it really was just a 3-wave move, and I'm going to zoom in a little bit in a minute, then it's entirely possible that this was the entire wave 4 already. Yeah, that's an alternative at the moment, but valid. It's an alternative because the wave 2 was quite sharp, so I would expect the wave 4 to be more like a sideways consolidation. So it might mean that we get a flat correction here where the A wave is a 3-wave move. The B wave is a 3-wave move and goes high. Could even briefly break above standard Fibonacci resistance. Remember that B waves don't really respect Fibonacci levels so well. That's just their nature. It's just what they're here for. And then a C wave down could happen and then we go up. Okay, so that is very much in line with the guideline of alternation in Elliott Wave, a very, very common guideline that tells us that if the wave 2 is sharp, the wave 4 often is more like a sideways consolidation or sideways correction. The wave 2 here looks more like a zigzag pattern, whereas the wave 4 could then be more like a flat correction. But that's not guaranteed, so I have labeled it alternative wave 4 already. But I have to say, I showed you yesterday the gap that the price might want to close. Yesterday, the price arrived at the upper boundary of that gap. We have not closed it yet. Here, you can see it. The yellow zone represents the gap on the CME futures exchange. If we zoom in a little bit, you see that the price might want to close it today. 117,400 is the lower boundary of the gap. And at the time of recording this video, there's absolutely no evidence that the price has bottomed. So I think a closing of the gap appears to be likely, but we'll talk about that more on the main Bitcoin chart. Just want to show it to you that there are some additional levels that the price might reach. Down here, 117.7K and 117.4K. That appears to be at least likely. So don't be surprised by it that we've come down a bit. Looking here at the yellow count, yeah, if I zoom in a little bit, then I did say it's possible that this is actually just a 3-wave move, ABC. Let me highlight that on the chart. And whenever I'm tracking an ABC structure, then I try to identify the 100% extension. That's a level that usually is reached. It doesn't have to be reached. But the 100% extension is at 117,900. So we might come down for maybe one more low in the C wave and then start the B wave bounce. The B wave bounce is already due from this region, so we might or might not get that one more low. Now, that being said, it's a 3-wave move down, right? So it could complete all of the wave 4. I'd say a bounce is due. But if the bounce is corrective, which I would expect first, just again, due to that guideline of alternation, which is only a guideline, not a rule, okay? We talk about probabilities here. Because of the guideline of alternation, I would see this as an ABC structure. Today, market on the smallest time frames will likely get shaken up a bit. CPI data, expect some volatility, expect some moves. Please note that within the scenarios I show you here, we have room in this support zone. The price could come down lower, even a little lower than the gap. I mean, you see it here, the 50% retracement on this support area, or in this support area, broadly aligns with where that lower boundary of the gap is located. But if we go down any lower, technically in the white count, which is the other scenario I presented you yesterday, the price has room all the way down to 114K. These are the next two best, or the two next best bullish options here. Either the current move down is a wave 4 or it's a wave 2. And if it's a wave 2, it allows for even a bit more of a deeper pullback. Now, the preferred interpretation is the yellow count at the moment. I see it as a wave 4 primarily. I think the white count doesn't so well align with Elliott Wave guidelines. So we have a few things here. First of all, we're still holding above support. The pullback so far appears to be corrective. It looked like 5 waves down yesterday, but it's morphed back into a corrective structure, which is good. So I have no evidence of a major top has formed. The gap isn't quite closed yet, so we might see a little bit more downside. The next support levels here are located at 117K, 115.8K, 114K. There is also a structural support level here around 116.4K. So I'm just waiting for the structure of that next bounce, which is, by the way, due, possibly after one more low, to determine whether we've already bottomed in 4 or we get a broader wave 4, which is currently preferred. So this is the zone of interest for over the coming sessions. Expect some volatility today. It's CPI data day, so we might not see much movement until CPI comes out. I'll, of course, keep you updated. I hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. I also invite you to join us on X for additional updates, posts. Here you can get very timely updates, sometimes faster than on YouTube, for example. Not as many as in our gold membership, but there are also some news I post here, sometimes videos. So check it out if you don't want to miss any analysis, any crucial updates, especially at the moment. I think that is quite important. And yeah, I'll post a link to our X channel in the description, in the comment section as well. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.